I'm going to show you the finished result before I kind of dive into the detail and kind of the process I went through. I didn't film my main box that I put out here, but I'll put a picture to it, and it's pretty simple actually. So I ran a new lead off of the battery and a new lead, can't really see, it's back behind here, but a brand new ground lead off of the chassis ground. And so both of those wires go over here, and this is a blue C fuse box that's just mounted on a piece of plastic that just goes down at an angle. There's a 100 amp breaker down at the bottom right there, and that 100 amp breaker feeds up to the box, and then there's a ground on here. And let me spin around, see if I can get, so I'm running a future load, which is a red arc DC to DC battery charger. I'm going to put another battery in the back so I can run a fridge back there, and my HID and my PIA lights, and then an ACC circuit. And that ACC circuit is a 30 amp, and that wire goes through the firewall, and I'll show you where that goes. It's a little teeny short wire. And so I added, there's one, let me get in here. I added one tap of fuse into that. There, I have a spare location. This whole strip is ACC based, and that little tap, I'll get up under here and show you where this is at. So on another piece of plastic that I'll show you is just mounted up in a nice little mounting point with a common ground bar, and then these run all of my accessories. I have some dash lights I'm running, the ARB compressor, and both front driver and passenger heated seats. And so now that's all fuse protected. So there's that 30 amp that's upstream of this box. So this box is protected, and it should only get 30 amps. Let me start the truck and show you. So, right, the ARB compressor is not going to go on. And if I put the key in and move it to the ACC position, now that relay trips on my new little board in there. It might be, there we go. So the AC where the compressor flips on, or the seat heater, you can see the LED comes up, that's green, you can see it, and then red, and also those dash lights. So only when ACC is on will those accessories be exposed and fuse protected on the inside. So maybe if it helps somebody, it's a very convenient place to put a little fuse box. It actually works out pretty good, and you can actually get to the fuses and see them. Okay. Here I'm just gonna show you what that fuse box would look like from the front. That's the breaker and the lead, so that's basically the battery supply. I did cut those cables down. They're fully, they're what I bought when I first did it. They're much shorter, and then you can see it from when it's mounted in the truck, and that's just an M8125 mounting point there. It's a spare that Toyota put in. It works out pretty good. It's pretty tight with the evap canister. This is with the evap removed, of course. You probably should move. It does block the grommet that goes through the firewall, so you got to take the screw out, which isn't a huge deal, but I didn't want to mount it up on top. I just wanted it out of the way. And this is the back side, and they're just I think 1/4 by 20 stainless bolts with nylon locking nuts that hold on. The plastic is really just a cheap thin cutting board, so at least the plastic is fairly heat resistant. I've never had any problems with it melting in the engine compartment or anything. It's made to be used for cooking, so hot stuff works pretty good on it. I'm guessing there's an upper limit. I've never found it. It works really well. It drills really well. You can even tap it. It'll hold nuts and bolts pretty good. it's good stuff. And you can also form it with a heat gun if you're patient enough, and get it really nice and hot. Hope that helps. So I'm just gonna mock this up. I'll show you what I got going here. So this is just a little test light. Right, it just tells me if there's a circuit. Very convenient, nice to have. I'm just going to use some clips to mock it up to show you. So this is a little blue C fuse box with a 30 amp capacity. My plan is seat heater 10 amp, seat heater 10 amp. Our compressor does say 15 amps, and then I'm going to use this just for some auxiliary lighting right now. In the future, I'll probably actually run another fuse box just like this for auxiliary lighting. Yeah, it won't be dimmed, but I'm working on that part. So this is a pretty standard little automotive relay. It comes with a block. So it's just a 4-pin, 30, 85, 86, 87. There's no 87A on this one. I don't really need an 87A. They're kind of nice having little blocks. There's a mounting point. Although I am going to have to upsize both these wires. This is Chinese 30 amp. It's definitely not American 30 amp. And so the relay goes right in here. And the red is the 30. So this is our power source lead. And so when we're going to run from the battery to this guy. And then the yellow is going to be to our load, which is going to go to the fuse box. So essentially the power is passing through the relay, right? It's off right now. Passing through the relay and supplying power to this. And then, of course, black is going to be ground. And white is going to be our trigger. So this is going to be coming from the tap of fuse. And right now I'll just simulate just by touching it to the positive. And so before I show a load, maybe you can hear it, maybe you can't. You can hear it click on and off, so the relay is actuating. And so then I'm just going to simulate a load with my test light. If I can get a hold of them. Okay. And then this guy would go to ground. So right now I don't have any load at all. So when I turn the truck on and the ACC comes off my tap of fuse, it's going to turn this on. So that way I'll have an auxiliary fuse box to be able to run ACC accessories without putting a load on the driver's side block or whatever this load is to trip the relay, and I'll just put like a 5 amp. I think is about the smallest one I have in the Toyota size. So there won't be a huge additional load on the driver's side block. So let me do a wiring harness, get that up, and we'll install it in the truck and we'll give it a test. All right, one more shot. I wasn't really able to find a great mounting point up under the dash, but I did find an interesting one that I've never used before. So I just actually took this. This is what I ended up with, just so that it's just a piece of, so you can see it's an old cutting board. It's just HD, whatever, CP plastic. It's real thin, but it works really good for mounting electrical and stuff. And then I'm gonna show you. So this is just an it's a 10 millimeter head on it, flange nut, but it's an M8 125, and there's a really good mounting point up under the dash that is actually for Toyota unbelievably convenient. So I still have to get the trigger length and do the power feed, but the rest of it's done, so all my circuits are good, and I did a common ground so I can run my grounds up there and be nice and neat and tidy and out of the way. So let's put it in the truck and see how it turns out. Alright, back in the truck. So I took some other stuff out so it'd be easier to film, otherwise it was going to be impossible to film it. Up under the dash there's this rubberized stuff with some kind of asbestos looking stuff. Probably important, probably just sound insulation. But if we get down here and we look, that little cap right there can be pulled off, and it exposes a really nice M8125 threaded captured bolt. And so that's where I'm gonna mount that guy up. I'm gonna stop filming. There's no way I can do this with one-handed filming and stuff, so I'm just gonna mount my little board up there and I'll show you what it looks like.